Today, we're gonna talk about porn. But not the kind of porn you're thinking of, so get your mind out of the gutter. Hey guys, it's Molly here, and today we're talking about inspiration porn, which is something most of you probably have never heard of. And it's a topic that's been on my mind a lot lately. It's a very buzzed about topic within the disability community and has been for quite a while now. And it's something I've wanted to talk about, I just haven't known how, because a lot of people within the disability community have very firm thoughts on this, and in some ways I do. Some of it I have a very firm opinion on, but other aspects of it I don't, and I'm trying to figure it out, and I'm trying to figure out how I feel. And I know that's controversial to say to some people, but I want to have a conversation with you guys. I want to open up this topic for discussion, tell you about it and kind of the thoughts I do have on it, and hear your opinions on it in the comment section, because I've had so many meaningful conversations with you guys in comment sections on previous videos, and I think you guys, a lot of you are like very intelligent people with really great insight, so I would just love to know what you think. So in case you've never heard of the term inspiration porn, that term itself was coined by the late Stella Young, who was an Australian comedian who happened to have a disability. And she did an entire TED Talk on it, so I'll link that down below. I've watched it many times over the years. It's a really great talk, so I encourage you, if you're interested in this topic, to definitely watch that. She makes some very, very good points. But I'll kind of try to sum up what it is for you the best way I can. I guess the concept in a nutshell is that society uses disabled people to gain inspiration from, that disabled people are deemed inspiring simply for living life with a disability. And another form of this is when able-bodied people are praised by others for either pitying or simply being a decent human being to a person who has a disability. Very common examples that you might see of inspiration porn are those images that go viral where it's like a photo of a woman running and she happens to have a prosthetic leg, and it'll say something like, "If she can do it, you have no excuse." Something crazy like that. And if you just Google image inspiration porn, you'll see a whole bunch of stuff pops up. A lot of them are parodies, which I think are great. My personal favorite parody that I've seen was one where a girl was sitting eating a bag of chips, and it said, "She lives with chronic pain and she still eats chips. Too lazy to open your bag of chips? No excuses." And I just think that was brilliant. So yeah, that's a good one. But there's, around prom time, you'll see a lot of these things going around, either viral articles, videos, clips, images, and it's usually something like a photo of a girl in a wheelchair and a boy, and it'll say, "He asked her to prom, even in her condition. What a hero." Or things like a photo of a boy with Down syndrome, and it'll say, "His classmates are so kind, they voted him prom king." And it's just so condescending. And honestly, I don't think society would put up with this. Like, I think society would be enraged if these photos were something like, an overweight girl and a guy, and it said, "He asked her out to prom, even though she's 30 pounds overweight." Or a photo of a black guy, and it says, "He was voted prom king, even though he's black. Can you believe his classmates are so kind?" Like, society would not put up with that at all. And honestly, we all know how it feels to be talked down to. We all know what it feels like for somebody to be condescending towards us or pity us in some way. I think everybody's felt that, where somebody maybe like starts talking slow to you because you have an accent. They think you're like can't understand them, or you're stupid because you have a Spanish accent. And that doesn't feel good. And unfortunately, a lot of these things that go viral are put out there without the person's knowledge or consent. And I know I was asked out to prom and I said no, but I can only imagine that if I had said yes and somebody put this photo out there and it went viral and I logged onto my Facebook or Twitter one day and saw this, it was like, "He asked her to prom even though she's blind. He's such a hero. What a nice guy." That would, number one, feel horrible. But number two, it's just wrong. Like, no, the reality is he was an ex-boyfriend that wanted to get back together with me, and I said no. Like, you can't just assume the situation if you have no idea. You can't just assume a guy wants to date that girl in a wheelchair for pity. But that's how it's spun, by calling him this hero and by praising him for this, like, and saying things like, even in her condition, or despite the fact that. It's putting that person with a disability down. And that doesn't feel good. Nobody wants to feel that, and nobody should feel that. And unfortunately, for some reason, it happens a lot. And another thing is people getting put on pedestals who have disabilities. That happens a lot as well. I know I've had people come up to me and be like, "You're so brave." And they know absolutely nothing about me. And if you've heard my story, if you know the background of everything I've been through, if you just saw me speak about my bullying and my mental health and all of that, then I can understand you coming up and maybe saying that you think that I'm brave or commending me for that. I get that, but I don't get when you know nothing about the person. You can't just assume because somebody has a disability they're a good person. I know people with disabilities who are incredible, talented, smart, funny, wonderful individuals. And I know able-bodied people who are talented, wonderful, funny, smart individuals. I know disabled people who are rude, mean, arrogant people. And I know able-bodied people who are rude, arrogant, mean people. These things, you can't just assume that because somebody is disabled, they're this like wonderful, inspiring, incredible person. It might not be true. And I think unfortunately in the media, in mainstream media, stories about disability are either posed as inspiring or sad. It's either like, oh my gosh, this person is so incredible, they can do this thing that all of us can do too. Well, like, yeah, we can live life. We find ways around this. We adapt to our disability. My blindness is normal to me, because my blindness is my everyday life. And so yes, I've adapted to it. Yes, I could do my makeup. Yes, I can navigate the world because this is my normal. Just like you being able to see or being able to walk or being able to hear is your normal. And so I don't think we should be praised for adapting to our situation. And then the other stories you see in the media are these sad ones, these pitying ones, like I mentioned earlier, these very like condescending, oh my, that poor person, what a rough life they live. And my biggest hope would be that one day the media would start showing real, genuine, authentic stories of disability, and stories that are empowering, stories with dignity and respect for that person with disability. And there are a few of them floating around there, but certainly they're not the ones that get the most traction. They're not the ones that are selling the magazines, and I guess that's what it comes down to. But I so want, and I've spoken about this in other videos, my Why I Love Being Basic AF video. I talked about how I want to normalize disability. How somebody came to my channel on YouTube and was disappointed to realize how normal I was. That I wasn't some like crazy, inspiring, wacky person with a disability. And she thought that because of the way the media portrays us all the time. Either media like movies inaccurately portray disability, or mainstream news outlets portray it in those two ways that I mentioned, and so it's never really authentic. And so people get this skewed perception of what disabled people are. They think we're either all meant to be like these source of incredible inspiration for you, or kind of something to like feel sad about or down about. And and I know that's where she got that idea, and that's why when she came to my channel, she was like, oh, she's just a normal disabled person? That's weird, that's boring. And yeah, I am normal. A lot of us are. We're just regular people. We have good qualities, we have flaws. We're human beings. And so that aspect of inspiration porn, I feel like very, very strongly about. But there's some people within the disability community who feel like people just like shouldn't view disabled people inspiring in any capacity. And I've struggled with depression and anxiety. I've been there where you just need inspiration. And in that way, who am I to tell you what to take that from? If I can give you that inspiration by watching one of my videos, or by hearing me speak, because I am a motivational speaker. That's what I do for a living. And so if you can, watch me speak, and that's like that one thing that did it for you, that one thing that clicked, then I'm glad I could do that for you. And I don't know why, I don't know your story, I don't know you, I don't know why you need inspiration, and I don't know why you're taking inspiration from me. So I'm conflicted. I think the forms of inspiration porn that are very exploitative, like the ones where I mentioned where these photos are very condescending or are going out there without permission or consent of the disabled person, that are very demeaning towards them, I don't think those are right. And I think that putting people on a pedestal who are disabled for doing everyday normal things isn't right. But I think that, if I go out and I speak, I'm not going to assume you were inspired because I'm a blind person speaking. It could be because of the story I told about being bullied and overcoming that, or because of my mental health story and mental health journey. I don't know why you're taking that inspiration, and if I can be that for you, that's great, because I know I watch a lot of able-bodied YouTubers who inspire me, and I listen to a lot of able-bodied speakers who inspire and empower me. So I don't think that aspect is wrong. I don't think that taking inspiration from disabled people in any capacity is wrong. I think that's great that I can inspire you. It's great that other disabled content creators here can inspire you, or speakers or bloggers can inspire you. But it's an empowering way. I'm sitting here, I'm choosing to do this, I'm sitting down, I'm sharing my story, you're hearing it and possibly gaining some kind of hope or inspiration from that. It's not this negative, exploitative way. So that's kind of my view on it. If you see me at Starbucks and that inspires you, because you almost didn't make it out of bed that day because your depression was so bad, and then you see me there alone with my dog getting my tea, and that inspires you, then it is what it is. I can't tell you not to be inspired by that, because at the end of the day, it does take me more work sometimes to get to that Starbucks alone. For most people, they get in their car, they drive themselves to Starbucks, they get out, they buy their drink, and they go home. For me, getting myself alone to Starbucks takes weeks of orientation and mobility training with my O&M teacher to learn my route. It takes weeks of practice with my guide dog and friends and family with me to feel secure and knowing that I'm going to get there safe. Then it's getting that courage inside of me, which for me personally, it does take courage to get my guide dog and me dressed up and get out there and try to make my way to Starbucks alone and order my drink and find the line and pay. And so if you find inspiration in the fact that I was able to do that and you almost weren't able to because, like I said, your depression was so bad, or what any other extenuating circumstances you have that I don't know about, then that's okay. I'm okay with that. And again, I'm just glad I could do that for you without even knowing it, with doing something that I needed to do or would have done anyways. So that's why I'm kind of conflicted, because I find there's some aspects of it that I'm very against, but then there's other aspects that I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I get it. It's reasonable. I think that's okay. And again, I know that that's maybe controversial to say to some disabled people or people within the community, because a lot of people are maybe more against it than I am. But I do think there are some aspects of my life that do take more work, and in some ways I do have to put in more effort to make something look as effortless as other people do. And I talked about that a little bit in my blindness and eye-hand coordination video. So I'll also have that linked at the end of this video and below, where I kind of talked about the work that does go into making life look this easy. So yeah, I get it. Yeah, when I'm doing a normal thing, there's a lot more work that might have gone into that normal everyday thing. So I don't know. That's why it's like, if somebody finds it inspiring that I put that much work in to complete that task, then great, they can find that inspiring. And I think it's good for society to recognize that sometimes more work gets put into these things. So I don't know. I know I'm rambling. I know I'm all over the place. I know my thoughts are a little jumbled. Classic Molly rambles video. And that's why I did this, because I want to know your opinions, whether you're within the disabled community or not, whether you've known about inspiration porn for a long time or it's a new concept to you. I really want to hear your thoughts on my thoughts. So definitely comment down below. I have those videos that I mentioned linked over here, and my social media stuff is right down below right there. Please give this a thumbs up if you did enjoy it. Hit the subscribe button if you want to be notified when the next video is up, and I'll see you next time. Bye guys.